What's a secret the food industry don't want you to know? The natural flavors are just big jugs of glycerin with hyper-concentrated flavoring in it. Banana flavoring is fairly flammable. Sauce worked in food manufacturing. Olive Garden makes all their necessary pastas for the whole day from 8-10 a.m. every morning. Partially cooked. So when an order comes through, they grab a serving of the needed pasta style and flash cook them in hot water. Also, it's just the brand, Berea. Chef here. It's salt and fat. If you have a question about anything, it's salt and fat. Beekeeper checking in: there is no such thing as organic honey. I do not treat my bees with chemicals, but I have no idea where they get their nectar. A bee can fly up to 3 miles from a hive to get nectar. It is virtually impossible to guarantee they have not gotten nectar from a chemically treated source. Dragon fruit isn't an exotic Asian fruit. It's a cactus fruit, and as such are native to the Americas and can even be grown in the US. Unless it's a health-conscious food joint you're eating at, the food we serve is designed for maximum taste. It's either dense with fat and sugar, or fat and salt. E.g. those mashed potatoes you like. Made with cream, butter, and salt. The quiche. Made on cream, not milk. Etc., etc. Well, I work at Domino's, and we are kept afloat by the people who don't coupon and pay full menu price. You people are the unsung heroes of labor. When I worked at a mass-production bakery, the chocolate for the chocolate-covered donuts came in giant frozen blocks of 4x4 pieces and contained no actual chocolate whatsoever. When unfrozen, it was like some sort of nasty-smelling paraffin wax that I would break up with a hammer and place into a melter that would then pour over the donuts. A lot of the processed cheese and cream cheese is all the same recipe, we just switch the labels and packaging for the different brands we run. Source: I work in a cheese factory in a company that services 75% of America's domestic market. The 11 herbs and spices secret recipe. The reason orange juice tastes consistently the same year-round, even though it's a crop harvested once a year, is because citrus oils and citrus flavor are added back to different batches and blended all together. Similar to how whiskey is blended from multiple barrels to make it consistent. The difference is that even though extra stuff is added back into the OJ, it doesn't need to be labeled because the flavors contain all ingredients from oranges FDNF from the named fruit, so the FDA doesn't mandate labeling additional ingredients. Pringles and baked Lay's similar are made of rehydrated and compressed rejected excess parts of potatoes that go into regular chips. I learned that from my dietitian at work and thought that was odd. I still like them over regular chips. I was a young lad working at Church's Fried Chicken during the summer, many years ago. The owner refused to throw out chicken that had already gone bad to the point where you'd gag if you smell them. Apparently, if you batter them bad boys up and deep fry them, the rancid smell goes away. His customers never knew they were eating spoiled chicken. Many of the cooks making your food are high and or drunk. At least up until the pandemic hit, there is a 100% chance that you've eaten at a restaurant where 1 or 2 of the people directly handling your food were legitimately sick enough that they should have stayed home, but they had to come into work anyway because they couldn't get their shift covered and they can't get a doctor's note without insurance or the money for a copay. The reason restaurant food tastes better than what you make at home is probably because it was drowned in butter or oil. Also, MSG is in nearly everything. Totally safe and delicious. And it definitely isn't what is giving you a migraine. The fact you ate 4,000 calories and 3 times your daily salt intake is probably what gave you the headache. King crab and Maine lobster prices that restaurants pay are cheaper than they have been since even before the pandemic, yet we still charge more than ever before. I'm a trucker who hauls mostly refrigerated freight. I pick up at a lot of slaughterhouses. You really don't want to know what those places are like, let alone the conditions at feedlots or CAFOs. Shrimps is bugs. It's not exactly a secret, but it's not common knowledge either. Except for infant formula, dates are not an indicator of the product's safety and are not required by federal law. Phrases like best by date or sell by or use by aren't regulated or required, and they are not outside of baby formula a statement of safety. Manufacturers would rather have you throw out product, wasting it, and buying more, than stockpiling. So they put best by or use by dates even on non-perishable items like salt. Subway, if it's 12 inches or 11 inches, you're getting the same amount of bread. Sometimes we're just too lazy to stretch the bread. The trick to good fried rice is old rice. It has to dry out for a bit in the fridge. Fresh milk isn't natural. It's broken into its component parts and then recombined in a specified ratio so that the end product is consistent all year round. The inside of ice machines are covered in mold unless cleaned regularly. In the many different restaurants I worked in, exactly one cleaned the inside of their ice machine on a regular basis. The apples you are buying from the produce department are anywhere from 9–14 months old. The meatballs at IKEA are made of children who haven't been picked up by their parents in the play area. Diet, not exercise, is the main factor in determining weight gain loss. Ooh, I got one. Lots of manufacturing places nowadays are trying to push for less than daily sanitation. You heard that right. They want to use these machines all day long, not clean them overnight, and start up like normal the next day. Currently working in a place that just started this practice. USDA is on board with it, they only care that the product tests well for culture counts before it's shipped off. So when you have stuff in your fridge and it seems to expire faster than it used to, it's probably because you got some 2-day-old room temperature product mixed in with the fresh stuff. The real Wonka candy factory isn't as wacky and eccentric as it is in the movie. The organic industry is a fucking scam. There are levels to this shit, and yes, you can purchase food that is grown and or sourced more ethically than other options, but don't kid yourself. It was most likely still grown on a factory farm, and chemicals were used, etc., just different chemicals. And a lot of it comes from China. No shit. Did you know that Go-Gurt is just yogurt? Castoreum is from a beaver's butthole, and it is used to make artificial raspberry flavor. It can also used for strawberry and vanilla. Buffalo wings are not made of buffalo, they are made of chicken. Buffalo don't even have wings. You technically can't get addicted to sugar, but sugar dependence is very real and can give you similar withdrawal symptoms to caffeine withdrawal. Your brain gets dopamine when you eat sugar, which means that most companies put as much sugar in their products as they can get away with so you feel good by eating them. The best by date does not mean throw it out or you're going to die. Add butter to everything you cook at home and you'll stop wondering why your home cooking isn't as good as restaurants. Chickens don't even have fingers. Every packaged and processed item you purchase is actively being worked on to be made cheaper, less nutritious, or less flavorful. It's the curse of continuous improvement. All it's doing is making what once was a decent quality food item way worse for you and more expensive. A lot of cooking is just the reheating of prep, and chef Mike gets used a lot more than you think. Fancy restaurants' regular food tastes so good because it's drowned in butter and MSG. I dishwashed at a fancy seafood steakhouse on the water and an average serving of asparagus had about a quarter stick of butter in it. People always asked what their trick with the asparagus was. German chocolate cake isn't from Germany. When you order shrimp fried rice, there isn't actually a shrimp frying the rice. Monosodium glutamate MSG is a flavor enhancer often added to restaurant foods, canned vegetables, soups, deli meats, and other foods. It's not bad for you. Contrary to popular belief, it's what makes food taste better in everything. Most large chain restaurants have a roach problem. I've been in the business for over 15 years. Of course, it's kept to a minimum, but they're always present. Most meat you buy in stores is packed with water and additives that add taste so you won't notice that it's all water. Most meat shrinks when you fry it. The more shrinkage, the more water was in the product in the beginning. 75k minimum punitive damages awarded to a customer in the event of food poisoning. When you give back a pack of ketchup to the restaurant because you didn't use it, they thank you and smile, and then they throw it out because you're probably a weirdo who injected bleach into the ketchup pack. They add tons of sugar to make things more delicious. If you don't see a kitchen, those pastries at the cafe are frozen in the back. Made fresh, sure, but frozen once they arrive and thaw in the cold case fridge every night. That said, most people can't tell the difference once it's heated up. The secret is that they can tell us all their secrets and we still eat it because we are lazy, short-term thinking fucks. That all vodka is nothing more than pure grain alcohol cut to proof with water. Source was Laptekin, an alcohol plant. We made everything from Walgreens vodka to Smirnoff vodka. The only difference was the bottle and label. That spring water is just well water. If you see a banana stand, there's probably a good bit of money in it. Like 250k. They are the ones feeding the illegal immigrant demand because that means they can pay them extremely low wages, abuse them, and if anyone catches them, the illegal immigrants are punished, not the companies who actually hire them. I used to work in a sliced bread factory. The amount of bread that gets thrown in the trash for being just a little overcooked after a mechanical failure is astonishing. I always thought they should give it to homeless shelters, something like that. Unless it's a small business or a very fancy place, all restaurants are getting the same truckloads of ingredients from the same 3 vendors. A lot of fast food places' medium size is the same as their large size.